الله ربنا هو الإله، له من الأسماء ما اصطفاه، الواحد الحي كذا المليك، والملك المالك لا شريك. الله ربنا هو الإله، له من الأسماء ما اصطفاه، الواحد الحي كذا المليك.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين. Respected elders, scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In our discussion about the rulings of Hajj, whether it's the ritual or the spiritual dimension, we've discussed the beginning of the pilgrimage from the miqat, where from the city of Medina, we will proceed to the miqat of Masjid Shajara. We enter into the state of ihram by removing the stitched clothing, wearing unstitched 2 pieces of clothes for the males. For the females, the stitched dress which is acceptable in salah. We make the niyyah and we recite the talbiyah and enter into the state of ihram. From the miqat, we proceed to the haram, to the holy city of Mecca, to Masjid al-Haram, and we avoid the 26 prohibitions in the state of ihram. Once we reach Masjid al-Haram, the next ibadah which is obligatory is tawaf. But before I discuss about tawaf, there were 2 issues that I need to clarify. One is the issue of wearing sun goggles. Last time a question was asked towards the end, and I said that, so wearing of sun goggles, I said that for women, if it is non-decorative and if it is not big, it is small, just covering the eyes, then that should be permissible. What about for men? Again, the same ruling is it should be non-decorative. The person wearing it should not wear it for the purpose of beautification. If it is medically necessary for avoiding the glare of the eye, then as a shade and as a cover, it will be allowed for medical reasons. The second issue that I wish to clarify, we talked about tawaf, and we make the niyyah before starting at Hajar al-Aswad. We start at the Hajar al-Aswad, then we proceed to from the eastern corner, the Hajar al-Aswad corner of the Kaaba, we proceed to the northern corner, the Rukn Iraqi, and then to the western corner, the Rukn Shami, and then the southern corner, the Rukn Yamani. We have to be careful to keep our left shoulder towards the Kaaba, and one problem that can potentially arise is that once we reach the corners, there is the problem of us giving our back or not being able to orientate our left side of the body to the Kaaba. So at the corners or at the opening of the Hijr Ismail or at the closing of Hijr Ismail, because we have to make a longer turn, probably a part of the tawaf, it would seem and would appear that we are giving our back to the Kaaba. But that degree of orientation is allowed provided we are not seen walking away from the Kaaba, provided we are walking in a direction which is oriented towards the left. Yes, better, yes, ihtiyat mustahab, to try to keep as close as possible towards the left. but not necessary, provided our overall orientation is anti-clockwise. So we finished the discussion about the tawaf, and we said that the beginning is from Hajar al-Aswad, left orientation, the end is at Hajar al-Aswad. It should be continuous, small periods of rest permissible. And once we complete the 7 rounds, then we have to proceed for Salatul Tawaf. There is one important issue that I delayed to discuss, and that was the preparation for Tawaf. If you remember, throughout the pilgrimage, from the entering into Ihram at the Miqat to the Tawaf, Salatul Tawaf, Sa'i, Taqsir and beyond, the Wukuf at Arafah and Muzdalifah and Mina. At all stages of Hajj, we can be without wudu, there's no problem, except for these 2 ibadah. One is Tawaf and one is Salatul Tawaf. Tahara in the form of wudu or ghusl, as it applies to our case, is necessary. Therefore, allow me to elaborate on these 3 conditions. Number 1 is purification from any najasa that can be there on our body or on our ihram dress. Number 2, after having removed the najasa, to enter into the state of tahara, either by wudu or ghusl, or in some exceptional circumstances through tayammum. So the purification from najasa. No najasa is allowed on the body or on the cloth, whether a big amount of najasa or a small amount of najasa. Unlike salah, the dress of salah, if it has najasa lesser than what is known as 1 dirham, or the upper joint of the thumb, that can be forgiven, but not in tawaf, not in the state of ihram. So, for example, if there is a drop of blood, you must make sure that that drop is washed away and removed, even if it is lesser than the size of the dirham and the thumb. What if a person is doing tawaf and then during tawaf he discovers, oh, I have some blood drop on my dress? Then obviously you must immediately take steps to remove it or to clean it if you can. But if it's difficult for you, you are stuck inside the tawaf area and you can't remove it, then that's acceptable. What if you discover the najasa after completing the tawaf, because you did not know about the najasa before the tawaf, during the tawaf, but you discovered the najasa after the tawaf? No problem, ignore it. That means your tawaf is valid. Lakini, clean it before you go for Salatul Tawaf. What if you knew about the najasa before the tawaf, but you forgot about it? After tawaf, suddenly you remembered, my dress or my body was najis. In that situation also, forgetfulness is an acceptable excuse, no problem. You don't need to repeat the tawaf. Just clean yourself and then proceed for Salatul Tawaf. What if you knew before the tawaf and you said, I will clean it, and you deliberately ignored, disregarded, delayed till you started the tawaf, and then later on it comes back to your attention after tawaf that, oh, there's najasa. What do you mean, oh, there's najasa? You knew about it. You should have done something before tawaf, but you purposely delayed it till you forgot it. No, this forgetfulness is not excusable. You have to clean yourself and repeat tawaf. So, the simple rule is this: the moment you see the tawaf, the tahara is missing and najasa, is there on your body before tawaf, make sure immediately you go and remove it so that your tawaf becomes sahih. So after having removed the najasa, then you need to enter into the state of tahara. To enter into the state of tahara, it will depend whether you just need to make wudu or no. Ghusl has become wajib for you. For a lady, for example, she has her monthly blessings from God, or no, for a man, he could enter into the state of janaba for which ghusl becomes wajib. So if you are in a situation for which ghusl is wajib, make sure you make the ghusl and then go for the tawaf. Or no, alternatively, you can decide to do a mustahab ghusl. Mustahab to do ghusl for entering into the haram, for entering into Mecca, holy city, for entering into Masjid al-Haram, for doing tawaf, mustahab. And with these mustahab ghusls, you don't need a wudu after that. But if for whatever reason, and you are given a concession also, if during this ghusl, when you are washing, but not rubbing and massaging, when you're washing as required for the ghusl, hair falls off, no problem, that is forgiven. Or no, you don't want to do the mustahab ghusl, and you don't have a wajib ghusl, then you can do the wudu, no problem. So tahara is important. The riwayah of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, لا بأس أن يقضى المناسك كلها على غير وضوء. All the manasik you can do without wudu, إلا الطواف بالبيت والوضوء أفضل. But of course, in all stages of the Hajj, from the miqat till Sa'i and Taqsir and Arafah and Mina and Muzdalifah, better to be in the state of wudu, but wajib for the sake of tawaf and salatul tawaf. Problem: I've entered into the state of tahara, either by wudu or by ghusl. I'm doing the tawaf. During the tawaf, the tahara is broken. So I'm without tahara. In salah, if the tahara is broken, the whole salah is batil, you need to renew the wudu and restart the salah. In tawaf, there's a new rule, the rule of the half. The rule of the half states that if your tahara is broken before the half, then your tawaf is batil. Renew your wudu and restart from afresh. The rule of the half states that if your wudu is broken after half of the tawaf, 3.5 or 4 rounds, there's a difference of opinion between the mujtahids. Hazrat Ibn Sistani says after the 4th round. Marhum Ayatollah Khoyi, Marhum Ayatollah Gul Paygani, Hazrat Ayatollah Khamenei say 3.5. So if your wudu breaks after the half or after the 4th round, then your past tawaf before breaking a wudu is sahih. Mentally mark that point, go out, renew your wudu and come back and continue with your tawaf from the point where it was broken. For those mujtahids who say that half is 3.5 rounds, not 4 rounds, they have a little more detail about the wudu breaking between 3.5 rounds and completion of the 4th round. That means the wudu breaks between Rukn Shami, the western corner, between that corner, Rukn Yamani till Hajar Aswad in your 4th round. That means between the 3.5 round till the end of the 4th round. If it breaks during that half sector, then those mujtahids, Marumatullah Khoyi, Marumatullah Gul Paygani, Hazrat Ayatollah Khamenei, they say in this case what you need to do is come out, renew your wudu, go back, complete from wherever it was broken and repeat the whole of the tawaf. Ihtiyat is to do both. Or Marhum Ayatollah Khoyi says no, restart your whole tawaf with the niyyah of completion and repetition. So most important thing to remember about tahara is the rule of the half. problem that can also arise as far as tahara is concerned is if you have doubts about tahara. You are on your way from your building on the way to the Masjid al-Haram. Before you are about to begin the tawaf, doubt. Did I make my wudu or not? Yes, I made my wudu. Was it broken or not? Am I in the state of tahara right now or not? If you're in doubt, you're not sure about your tahara, you can't start your tawaf. So you need to check. Am I sure I made wudu at home or not? If yes, I'm sure, but now I'm doubting, is it broken or not? Ignore the doubt. Work on your certainty. You're certain you did the wudu. You're doubting whether it was broken or not. Between certainty of doing and doubt of breaking, ignore the doubt. Continue with your tahara from the home. Scenario number 2. I did the tahara at home and I'm sure it is broken. Definitely you'll have to repeat the wudu before tawaf. Scenario number 3. I am doubting whether it's broken or not, but I'm also doubting whether I did the wudu at home or not. Doubt and doubt. You must restart the wudu, redo the wudu, and then start the tawaf. Second problem about the doubts. The doubt which occurs not before the tawaf, the doubt which occurs after the tawaf. 7 rounds complete, you're moving around looking for a place for Salatul Tawaf. You find the place for Salatul Tawaf, you pray the Salah, and then you have doubt inside your prayers. Did my Tawaf, did I do it with the proper wudu or not? Ignore your doubt. Or no, you finish your Tawaf, you finish your Salatul Tawaf, you're outside the area, you're resting in the Zamzam area, and you have a doubt. Was my Tawaf in the state of Tahara or not? Ignore the doubt. Doubt that occurs after completion and after you have moved away. Ignore the doubt. The problem is the doubt that occurs during Tawaf. Again, check. If you have a doubt inside Tawaf, first round, second round, sixth round, seventh round, did I do wudu or not? Was my wudu broken or not? Check. Back at home, are you sure you did the wudu or not? If yes, you are sure you did the wudu, then any doubt, whether it's broken or not, ignore the doubt. Because certainty versus doubt. You're certain you did the wudu, you're doubtful it's broken or not inside the tawaf, ignore the doubt, work on your certainty. No, problem is inside tawaf I have a doubt about my wudu, but I'm not sure whether I did it at home or not. Here you have a problem because you have no certainty, it's doubt throughout. Inside the tawaf, before the tawaf, right from the time you left the building, doubt, I'm not sure I did the wudu or not. In this case, you must redo the wudu. Lakini, because the doubt has occurred inside the tawaf, it is similar to that situation where your tahara is broken inside the tawaf, so the rule of the half will apply. If a doubt which breaks your tawaf occurs before the 4th round or 3.5 round, break your tawaf, redo the wudu and restart. If the doubt that breaks your tawaf occurs after the 4th round or after 3.5 round, depending on which mujtahid you follow, mark the point where the doubt occurs, the doubt which you cannot correct by any past certainty and conviction that I definitely did wudu. That doubt therefore is a valid doubt, it has broken your tawaf. Mark that point after the half of the tawaf, redo your wudu, come back and continue, resume your tawaf from that point of doubt. So now the person has removed the najasa, the person has entered into tahara, and he has done the 7 rounds properly. A third issue that can occur other than najasa and tahara is the issue of interruption in between the tawaf, in the sense that you may have to break the tawaf for certain reasons. Three common reasons are: one is it is time for salah during tawaf. You have no choice. Everybody else stops tawaf. There is salatul jama'ah, no problem. You stop wherever you are, mentally mark that point, go and find an appropriate place to pray the salatul jama'ah. Once the salatul jama'ah is finished, go back to that point where you had stopped, or no, a similar point parallel to it. A few steps before that, you restart and continue your tawaf, irrespective of whether you stopped after the half of tawaf or before the half. Even if you stopped at end of round 1 or round 2 or round 3, doesn't matter. Continue from where you stopped, because you stopped for the sake of salah. So interruption number 1, salah. Interruption number 2, the cleaners have come. When the cleaners come, they don't suspend and stop the Hujjaj from doing tawaf in the whole tawaf area. They cordon off certain sectors. So if you can, just stop for a little while, let them finish their work. They don't take more than a few minutes. A few minutes break is allowed in tawaf. Or no, if it is not inconvenient, you can start moving further away, even if you have to go beyond Maqam Ibrahim, and resume your tawaf if the area which has been cordoned off allows you to do tawaf a little further away. So that doesn't matter, doesn't break your tawaf. A third problem is, no, you have to break your tawaf for some important reason. Let's say you're not feeling well. You have a headache, you're too tired, you suddenly developed a pain in the leg or the foot or the stomach or whatever, and you feel you can't continue with proper concentration. No problem, you're allowed to take rest. How long a rest? Sijui inategemea sasa hali yako. The pain is too much. Well, I need to take a tablet. Sawa, get medical attention, rest, half an hour, 1 hour, no problem. But this is unavoidable. It's a medical problem. But you have to be careful. Where did you stop? Did you stop before the half of the tawaf, the 4 rounds or 3.5 rounds, or did you stop after the half and after the 4 rounds? And the rule of the half will apply here. Medical reasons, obviously you're allowed to break your tawaf, no problem. Issue number 4. So one was najasa, one was tahara, one was interruptions in tawaf. Issue number 4. Doubts that occur not in tahara. Doubts that occur in the number of rounds in tawaf. Problem. Any doubt in any number of rounds. Is it my first round or second round? Third or fourth? Fifth or sixth? Sixth or seventh? Batil. Unlike salah, where you can correct some of the doubts and make your salah sahih, some doubts break your salah, some doubts are to be ignored, some doubts in salah have a repair which can be done to your salah. Unlike salah, all doubts that occur during tawaf about the number of tawaf, whether it is the lowest number, first and second, I don't know, it's the first or the second, or it's the biggest number, 6th or 7th. Yes, if it is 7th or 8th, ignore the 8th and you're sure you have finished the 7th. So no problem. Ignore the 8th and stop your tawaf immediately. But up until the 7th, 7th and lesser than 7th, any doubt that occurs in the number of rounds breaks your tawaf. You need to restart your tawaf from 0, from Hajar al-Aswad. If the doubt occurs, just like tahara, after completion of the tawaf, you have proceeded to Maqam Ibrahim, you are doing your salatul tawaf, inside salatul tawaf or after salah, at Zamzam, in sa'i, in taqsir, back at home. Anywhere after completion of tawaf, doubt occurs. Did I do the right number? 7 rounds or 8 rounds? 7 rounds or 6 rounds? Hey, sijui. ignore the doubt. You are not in tawaf when the doubt occurs. You are out of tawaf. You are out of the area of tawaf. You are into the next ibadah, no problem. Ignore that doubt. But any doubt during tawaf on any number of rounds breaks the tawaf. The solution to this is to be careful how you do your tawaf. Just like salah, you will not suffer usually any doubt about the number of rak'ah in salah. If you're praying salah properly with concentration, you know what you're reciting. The moment you have a doubt, no problem, spend a few seconds. Immediately you will recall, because your mind in salah, your mind is not distracted and wandering away. It's not filled with other thoughts. Your mind is in salah. Immediately you remember, I just recited Fatiha and surah. Normally I recite this surah in my first rak'ah. Or I just recited Fatiha and then I made qunut. So I clearly can refigure which number of rak'ah I am in, whether in ruku or sajda. Same trick for the tawaf. Be mindful, be attentive, be alert about what you're doing in the tawaf. So you can keep other helpers for yourself. So maybe you can wear a ring and you keep on changing the finger of the ring so that reminds you the number of rounds. Or no, you can wear a watch and you can time yourself. On average, I take 5 minutes, 10 minutes per round, and therefore this ought to be probably my which round depending on the time which has passed. Or no, keep a rosary bead, small tasbih, and you keep on counting accordingly. Or no, you should have a friend, a minder, who reminds you. So it could be your friend, it could be your partner, your spouse. There's an interesting hadith which says that you can have 2 people, 3 people doing tawaf together, and they can remind each other. The problem which arises with a minder is if the minder expects you to be the reminder, then you're both confused. So even in that situation, if all the 2 or both the 2 or the 3 or more are counting, if at the end of the rounds, then they share their notes and compare. One says, I think we have done 6 rounds. The other one says 7. The third one says 8 rounds. So who's right and who's wrong? Here it depends on your own personal conviction. If you are sure you have done 6, even if what the other is saying, we have done 7, we have done 8, ignore that because you're sure about yourself. What they say is not creating a doubt in you. You are saying 6 because I'm sure it is 6. You act on your own conviction, finish your 7. The one who says 8, if they are convinced, then they have added purposely 1 extra round, tawaf batil. The one who says, I've done 7, they are sure they have done 7, who is saying 6, who is saying 8, doesn't create doubt in their minds, they act on their own conviction. Problem is when the minder needs reminding. When the minder is thrown into doubt by the reminding person. That is the problem where tawaf of all the 3 is broken, they need to restart. So find the right minder. Another interesting hadith says that, can I ask my wife to keep a count of the rounds? And the Imam says, no problem. Don't you see in Salah we have Salatul Jama'ah? Somebody becomes the Imam, the other one follows. You can have the head of the household being the Imam, the wife and the children become the Ma'moom. No problem. In the Salah, you follow the Imam. He keeps the count. So likewise here, the wife can keep the count. She's leading and you're following. You trust her, whatever she tells you. No problem, allowed, provided you accept and trust and know that she has kept a correct count. If what she says is throwing a doubt in your mind because you also kept a count, your tawaf batil. If you are sure about your own count and what she counts is different and her different report does not create doubt in your mind, you act on your conviction. Ignore her count. So the important thing is your personal attention. So there are other methods of reminding yourselves. You can decide to choose 7 different surahs of the Quran. For every round, recite that one surah. Surah Nasr, Surah Asr, Surah Kawthar, short surahs. Keep on repeating them in one specific round. Keep a list where you know which surah is for which round, maybe. Or no, take a dhikr. Whichever dhikr you want, Subhanallah, Subhanallah for one round, Alhamdulillah for another round, La ilaha illallah for another round, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, Ma sha Allah for another round. Make your own list to remind you. Or no, make a dua. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا for one round, ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا for a second round. The du'as of the prophets. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين. So in Surah Al-Anbiya, the dua of Prophet Yunus alayhi salam when he was in the belly of the whale. So you can have different lists of zikr or dua or Quran to remind you. Salawat, very good dua. Keep in one of your rounds the zikr of salawat, for example. And of course, don't forget badam, or pumpkin seeds, or walnuts, or even tuna fish is said to have good 3 omega fats, which are good for boosting the memory. But I always believe that it is the mustahabbat of the tawaf or the salah that helps us achieve focus and attention in salah, and therefore achieve focus in tawaf. Mustahab in tawaf, it's not wajib to recite anything. Mustahab. So make a mustahab zikr for yourself and keep reciting to remind you the number of rounds. Mustahab to look down and not to gaze and get distracted. Avoid certain actions which are makruh during tawaf. Again, that helps your concentration. So to speak during tawaf, to speak during salah breaks salah. To speak during tawaf doesn't break it, it's makruh. So say you're getting distracted. You're speaking about other things and you're in the presence of God. Makruh, avoid it. To laugh breaks salah but doesn't break tawaf. Makruh, don't engage in laughter. Yawning, cracking of knuckles, makruh in salah, makruh in tawaf. To be sleepy, to be full of worries, to have waswasa, makruh in salah, makruh in tawaf. In fact, one of the reasons we tend to forget is we are distracted, we are worried, we are under stress. So make sure when you're leaving Medina, for example, prepare beforehand that I'm going for tawaf. In Medina, on the last day, before departure, don't tire yourself and exhaust yourself. Have enough rest. So that when you arrive in Mecca, you're fully rested, fully attentive, fully alert. If you're exhausted, it's an exerting, tiresome exercise, the tawaf, the sa'i. So be fully energetic and prepared. If for whatever reason you are extremely tired in Medina, take your rest in the bus. No hurry, take your rest in the building. And when you go for tawaf, be fully alert. Makruh, just like salah, so also for tawaf. Makruh, when you feel the pressure of gas or urine, it's makruh to try to control. Go and relieve yourself so you're relaxed. And act on the rule, whichever is the rule, whether it's before the half of the tawaf or after half of tawaf. And accordingly, you count, you restart from the beginning of tawaf or from the point where it was broken after half. Makruh to eat or drink. In salah, eating, drinking breaks salah. In tawaf, you can carry a water bottle and take a sip, but makruh to do it. So the message is, in order to make your tawaf a meaningful experience, try to avoid the makruhat, try to observe the mustahabbat, inshaAllah. Next wajib act is Salatul Tawaf. But before I start Salatul Tawaf, I'll take a short break here. If there are any questions, because Tawaf is an important ibadah, and I would advise whichever group you are in to make sure you have a volunteer or an experienced Hajji or an alim of the group. Go and discuss with him in case you have doubts. after tawaf, before Salatul Tawaf or after Salatul Tawaf. Any questions, clarifications? Yes, please. 60-40 doubt. A doubt is a doubt, whether it's 90-100 or 60-70. 60-40. 90-10 is a doubt. You have to be sure. Yes, please. Yes. A few minutes pause in tawaf just for resting purpose is allowed, but too long a pause, no. That will break and disrupt the continuity. Now it all depends how much time this individual is going to take to go and renew the wudu and come back. So one trick you can use is to carry a small spray bottle whereby you learn to do wudu as simple as one wash of the face, wajib, one wash, spray on the hand, one wajib wash of the right hand, one wajib of the left, wajib wash of the left hand, and your wudu is ready. You just come out of the tawaf area, go to the place where they are serving the zamzam water, maybe drink a little zamzam water, make your wudu there with your spray, not with zamzam water. Because zamzam water, they will write there, this is for the purpose of drinking, so not allowed for wudu. The only situation where you can use zamzam water is you take with the need of drinking, you take a sip, so you've drunk, and maybe then you use the rest of it to splash on yourself for wudu and of the face and the hands. The safest way is carry your own spray bottle. You will save time. That period of time, your companions can wait for you. Yes, please.
When you get a doubt, how much time do you have to make a decision outside?
If it's in salah, within a few seconds you need to decide. You can't have too long a pause. If it's tawaf, a few minutes can be reasonable. But that must be a serious doubt if it takes you minutes and minutes to decide where are you. Yes, please. I didn't get you. You need to hold what? Whose shoulder? Oh, you better take permission from them. I mean, it's your companion and your friend, or it's a stranger? Companion. Yeah, no problem. You can hold on to somebody else, no problem. Okay, so if you allow me, yes, please. Yes. No, the mujtahids say that Ab Zamzam, if it has been collected by somebody else and it has been made available by them in caskets, it's not there in the original well. They have collected it for you and they have brought it for you and they have limited its use, then you must respect that authority whereby you should not use it for wudu. So the safest way out is to use your own water. Bring your own water bottle or bring your own spray and go to that Zamzam area so that you don't splash elsewhere and you make your wudu. So let me continue and try to finish the next wajib act, which is Salatul Tawaf. After completion of Tawaf, without unnecessary delay. Necessary delay, I have finished the Tawaf, a few steps beyond Maqam Ibrahim. I'm beginning to gradually change lanes so that I can move away from the Tawaf area to just go behind Maqam Ibrahim. That much time is acceptable. But to unnecessarily, you decide to make one dummy round. No, what for? There is no need. Or no, you decide to go for Zamzam and sit there. So half an hour passes. No. Salatul Tawaf is connected to the Tawaf. The completion of Tawaf is by praying Salatul Tawaf immediately thereafter. So you notice, in one sense, in fact, this Tawaf is just like Salah. Tawaf is not Sahih without wudu, for example. Tawaf is broken by doubts, just like Salah is broken by doubts. Tawaf has the conditions necessary for Salah. Tawaf, if you notice, the Quran says that وَطَهِّرَ بَيْتِيَ لِلطَّائِفِينَ وَالْعَاكِفِينَ وَالرُّكَّعِ السُّجُودِ. Purify this house of mine so that people can come and do i'tikaf, they can do tawaf, they can do ruku and sajda. So tawaf, ruku, sajda are all interconnected near the Kaaba. I can't go away from the Kaaba when I've not finished tawaf and ruku and sajda. That is the salah. So immediately after tawaf is salatul tawaf. Maqam Ibrahim, maqam is station, place where Ibrahim alayhi salam stood. So there is a place where if you look inside that structure, you will see footprints, two footprints. Presumably, based on the historical record that he stood on that place to construct the Kaaba, so obviously it was near the Kaaba, then it was stationed here. Or no, it's the place where he stood to make his announcement to mankind, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا. But nevertheless, it is the stepping stone which by miracle the stone was softened to receive the imprint of the foot, and then it was hardened, and this becomes Maqam Ibrahim fihi ayatun bayyinat, that there are clear signs and miracles of God. One of the miracle of God is the Maqam Ibrahim alayhi salam. In the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, Allah says, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. Your place of salah, musalla, should be Maqam Ibrahim. But Ibrahim alayhi salam should be made the imam, and you should be the ma'mum. So Salatul Tawaf has to be done behind Maqam Ibrahim. So I locate myself behind Maqam Ibrahim, as close as possible to the Maqam, but allowed at a reasonable distance, but not very far away. And that is not difficult, unless the Tawaf area is so expanded that literally the pilgrims who are doing Tawaf are reaching far away till the shaded area of the mosque. So that's an unavoidable situation. You can't do anything about it. You pray as far away as the Tawaf area or the pilgrims allow you. But in times when the crowd is not very high, normally the Tawaf area is about half full, 3/4 full, so you can manage to pray behind Maqam Ibrahim reasonably close. The trick that I employ, and which has been suggested by some experienced Hujjaj, is spend some time gradually moving away from Kaaba till you reach behind Maqam Ibrahim, wherever there is an opening behind Maqam Ibrahim. If there is no opening, go and stand nearby somebody who is already praying. He or she is not going to take long to pray. Wait near them. Once they finish, you occupy their space. Those few minutes are permissible to wait before you begin Salatul Tawaf. The only problem you'll have to keep in mind is the distance between a male and a female. Some mujtahid say that the distance that must be observed between a male and a female praying in the same space, this rule applies to outside Masjidul Haram, not in Mecca, inside Masjidul Haram. So Masjidul Haram, there should be no problem. But other mujtahids say no, as far as possible you must keep the minimum distance of about 50 centimeters. So maybe 1.5 feet away from a woman if she's praying there. So once you have located that place, once you start your salah, then a woman comes, or a woman starts the salah, then a man comes, that's that person's problem. The later starter, the late starter. You, when you started, there was no male, female around closer than 50 centimeters to you, no problem. Irrespective of whether he or she is on the same line as you or in front of you, doesn't matter. So you're ready behind Maqam Ibrahim, your surrounding is safe, you make your niyyah, I'm praying Salatul Tawaf as part of my Umrah Tamattu', which is going to connect to my Hajj Tamattu', which is part of my Hajj, either Wajib Hajj, Hajjul Islam, or no, it's part of my Mustahab Hajj, or no, it is Hajj for Niyaba, sponsorship, or no, it's an Ihtiyat, repeating Hajj, Ma fi dhimma, and I'm doing it qurbatan ilallah, in obedience to God's command. Once the niyyah is ready, you pray Salatul Tawaf just like you pray the 2 rak'ah of Salatul Fajr. But the difference is, you are allowed to recite the Fatiha and the Surah loudly like Salatul Fajr, or in whispers like the Dhuhrain. Am I allowed to pray in Jama'ah? Marwaitullah Khui says yes. The other mujtahids say that if necessary, because of your qira'ah problems, your Fatiha has to be sahih, your surah after Fatiha has to be sahih. If you have enough time to learn the correct pronunciation, you must spend that time. Not after tawaf, before tawaf. If the time you spend, you still can't learn the sahih qira'ah, then better pray behind another person who becomes your imam. After completion of Salatul Tawaf, mustahab, also to recite a particular surah, not wajib. In the first rak'ah, Surah Tawheed. In the second rak'ah, Surah Kafirun. Mustahab, after Salatul Tawaf, to make a sajda, to ask God for the acceptance of your ibadah. Finally, after Salatul Tawaf is complete, the next wajib act is sa'i, which inshallah we'll discuss in the next session. Mustahab to go to Zamzam and to drink some water, to apply it on one's body, on the head, on the face, on the chest. And the riwayah says from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ma'u Zamzam shifa'un. There is shifa in the water of Zamzam. Shifa'un lima shuriba lah. You make the niyyah which illness you want to cure by this comprehensive, miraculous water. Miraculous. How many thousand years ago it started flowing in a place where there's hardly rainfall, and it is gushing to supply not only the 2 million Hujjaj who are in Mecca, but also the Hujjaj who are in Medina. The water is transported to Medina, and also for the Hujjaj who want to take it back home. It's flowing in millions of liters. Miracle. Let's pray to Allah for tawfiq, to be able to get shifa not only physically but also shifa spiritually.